The topic today is margins, or more specifically, your gross margin. Now, gross profit is something that every business owner needs to have a working knowledge of. It is absolutely critical to good business management. Now, we're not going to get all technical here today. These are pretty basic principles, but there's two things that I want to be able to cover off on. So the first is how to accurately allocate costs, so what goes above the line and what goes below. And the second is to show how drilling down on your gross margin enables you to manage your business profitability in a more methodical way. Now, gross profit calculation can be a bit of a grey area. Everyone you meet will have a different idea of how to calculate it, but it really shouldn't be complicated. So all costs associated with producing, holding or distributing your goods go above the line. Everything else goes below. So producing, holding and distributing above, everything else, so sales, marketing, finance, admin, they go below. So production cost, that's your raw materials, it's your cost of goods sold, manufacturing costs, manufacturing wages and so on. And then all your holding costs, so warehousing costs, including any warehouse rent and outgoings, warehouse wages, warehouse equipment, forklifts, etc. These are all direct costs. And then finally distributing your goods, so logistics, freight in, freight out, operational vehicles, dispatch personnel, any costs to get your goods to you or to your customer, these also go above the line. And it's really important to get this right because it impacts how you manage your business profitability. So it's common to hear business owners talking about making 45 GP on this and 50 on that, but they aren't factoring in a bunch of direct costs. Maybe the warehouse rent, the wages for the operations manager and so on. Boil it all down and the gross margin is probably only 35%. So knowing your true margin, even if it's lower than you thought, means you'll be able to manage it so much better. But the other reason it's important to get all the relevant costs above the line is because it also makes managing your overheads so much easier. Because when there's costs that are below the line that should be above, you will often get larger fluctuations month to month on top of having a larger expense base. But if you haven't got direct costs clogging up your overheads, you'll find they're much cleaner and much more consistent. So none of your numbers on your P&L should ever come as a surprise to you, but in particular, your overhead structure should be very clear. You should always know what these are to a pretty close margin. So on your management report for this month, when your overheads are up 6K compared to budget, you'll be able to pinpoint that back to the one or two specific line items that are out of whack. So once you get your overheads under control, it becomes a much easier prospect to simply concentrate on sales and on gross margin. You'll have the time to look at your raw margin before direct costs and closely monitor that month to month. You can work on improving your margins through extra volume because your fixed costs enable GP to go up. And you should know exactly where your break-even point is and what impact any rise or fall in your sales results will do to your bottom line. So that's my thoughts on gross margin. Back to basics today, I know, but very important to get a good grasp on your gross profit numbers. So remember, production, holding and distribution costs go above the line, everything else below, and then get your overheads lean and consistent and spend your time focused on your gross margin and on growing your sales.